Well, welcome to Moving Iron Podcast Tax Tip of the Week with Glen Birnbaum. Glen, we were talking a little bit beforehand, and you wanted to talk about net operating losses.
Yeah, I figured we had touched on this on our March 1st podcast about they did change some of the rules with, the tax reform that was passed on net operating losses, and basically there's just some different rules that are in play. I think the main thing I wanted to start out with is you'll hear a lot that, well, no longer can you carry back a net operating loss to prior years. You can only carry it forward. So, we're talking about some sort of business loss, and can I carry it back and recapture some tax? Generally speaking, that is the rule, that I can no longer carry it back. I just, can carry it forward, but farmers do have still a special exception. So farmers can still carry a loss back, and we're talking about a loss in 2018. They can carry a loss back 2 years, up to 2 years. Now, before it was 5 years, so it is a little different, but farmers are one of the few taxpayers that can still carry a loss back. So what that means is, if I suffer a loss in 2018, maybe because of taking aggressive bonus depreciation, something like that, right? I paid a lot of tax in the last 2 years. I can carry that loss back and get some tax back if I'm kind of in a liquidity issue. So just wanted everybody to be aware of that there is still the ability to carry back a loss.
Okay. So taking a look at what the current tax law is now with the changes and stuff that are there, how much would, say, I don't know, like 179 or some double depreciation affect that operating loss?
Well, it can have a big effect. Section 179, though, you cannot create a loss with that. So you basically would not, it would just kind of be suspended. But bonus depreciation, which we talked a lot about that, where I can write off 100% of a used asset or a new asset, I can create a loss. So there is potential. Again, you would have to have paid a fair amount of tax in the last couple of years to make that work. But there is an ability to get some cash back if you paid a lot to the IRS last couple of years.
Okay. So if you were to, when do you have to make that decision about carrying your operating losses back? Do you have to do that like at the first year or sometime, or is there a specific window you have to hit to make that work?
It would be it's a good question. It would be at the time you file your tax return. And we're coming up upon, the deadline here. April 17th, actually, deadline. But you either say, hey, I'm going to carry this loss back when you file that return for the year that you suffered the loss, right? You either say, I'm going to carry it back, or you elect to say, I know I'm not going to carry it back because I didn't maybe pay much tax in the last couple of years. I'm going to carry it forward. So it's an election you make at the time you file your return when you suffer the loss. But if you extended your tax return, because you had a loss and you wouldn't owe any tax in the current year, you would have more time to make that decision. So
okay. So what would how do you make that decision? Like when's the best time to make that decision, and what scenario is a good scenario to say, yep, I'm going to carry this back?
Yeah, it's it's pretty simple. Your CPA, your tax person would look at how much tax am I going to save if I carry it back, right? So I may have $100,000 loss. If I carry it back and I only save $5,000, right? That's a 5% effective rate versus if I think I'm going to be in a 22% bracket going forward, it'd be better to carry it forward. So you just look at your past history, how much tax can I get back, and evaluate is that a good percentage? Do I like that number? So it's very facts and circumstances.
Okay. All right. So interest rates, they're coming up, and you've seen that kind of take an effect on the marketplace. How would something like this and maybe some interest rate stuff, how would that work together, and could you maybe offset some interest costs down the road with something like this?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure it has a huge impact, just because interest, is deductible either way. But the more interest you have, the more likelihood you're going to have a loss, and you could potentially carry it back if you wanted to get some tax back. I think, Casey, we will talk about some business interest limitation rules on an upcoming tax tip, because there are some limitations on interest being able to deduct it in certain circumstances. So
good deal. Okay. All right, Glenn. Well, if guys want to get a hold of you and ask some more questions about this stuff, how would they do that?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Glen Birnbaum. Phone number is 309-694-4251.
Okay. All right, Glenn. So till next week, do you have any other final words you want to throw out there to the group here?
I mentioned it already. Tuesday, April 17th is the deadline. It's not the 15th, so you got a few more days. And if you do, if you're not ready, you don't have all your information, you can always extend the return, but you do have to pay your estimated tax. So it doesn't relieve you from paying tax, the extension. So you still should pay in what you think you owe, but then you'll get a 6-month extension. So.
Okay. My poor son's birthday is April 15th, so he doesn't really get the good break that all the other kids get. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Glenn, thanks for being on. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, Casey.
Take care, bud.